seat, then that's going to be fun too. So just make sure that it's kind of available, handy, and nearby. And I'll say, just with your net of balls, just have them on the ground. But before you put your feet on or anything like that, take a second just to find that nice sturdy stance. Feet underneath you, tall spine, shoulders down, head in a neutral position. And we're going to just do a little bit of head movement before we kick it down. So you're going to, like, you're drawing that little 1-inch circle with the tip of your nose, just small and gentle circles. And as you make these slow and gentle circles, feel your feet touching the ground. And if you can notice where the weight of your body is distributed into your feet. There's no right or wrong, but just in your neutral stance, just kind of tune in and feel what points of your feet do you feel hold a little bit more weight or have a little bit more connection point to the ground. And then if your head circles are going in one particular direction, reverse, go the other way. All right, one more circle around, and then one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. Take a second here just to set that nice intention for yourself to honor your mind and your body throughout your practice. Never do anything that would cause your mind or your body pain. Treat yourself with love, care, and respect. And then with that intention set, take a second to release. And then just with your foot on the ball, just take it for a nice slow, whatever pace roll feels good. Just start to roll through the bottom of the foot, going wherever it feels good and allowing your foot to kind of fall between the groove of the balls, go off sides, anything that just kind of wakes up the plantar fascia. And then in whatever way you can, you're going to try to get all 5 toes into a little bit of an extension. So split across the balls, go on one single ball. Don't, no right or wrong, but just get a little bit of toes and extension. Pause there just for a moment and take a nice big breath. All right, and then take a second to release, wiggle your ankle, and then we're going to switch the work to the other side. Foot on the ball and just roll in the length of your foot, or just rolling around in a way that makes good sense to you, so you can just feel into the bottom of your foot. No, non-specific. We've done foot rolls just plenty of times that you don't need huge guidance. Just go where your foot likes it. Take one more moment there, and then when you're ready, find that toes and extension. So get as much of your toes up in that lifted press against the ball situation. Hold steady for just a moment. Take a nice big breath. Awesome. And then come off and just give that foot and that ankle a little wiggle. And then before we go big on that plantar flexion of the foot or the point of the foot, you're just going to get your toes under, and then you have a huge amount of control of your body weight here. So most of your body weight can remain in your standing leg, and just start to gently push down into your toes so you feel there's that little stretch into your shoelaces. Get a sense of how your ankle is feeling this morning. Take a breath. All right, and then release, twinkle it out if you need to, and then switch the work to the other side. Toes under, and put your weight into your standing legs so that you can start with that softest, gentlest version. And then you can gently press down, let the weight of your leg kind of press down into the top of your foot and your toes. Feel into your shoelaces, notice how your foot feels. Nice. And then when you're ready, release, give it a little twinkle. And now we're going to come down to a seated position. But if you like, just for that little switch them up, put your yoga block underneath your butt like a little seat. And then come into your crisscross applesauce situation and give everything a second, especially if you're not typically using the block underneath your butt. Sometimes it takes a minute to find that sweet spot where it feels good. And then once you've got your way there, just some shrug and rolls of the shoulders. Roll your shoulders around, down, and back. And then roll your shoulders the other way. All right, now we're going to take it into the shrug, melt, and eardrops away. So you're just going to lift your shoulders up to your ears. And then as you melt the shoulders down, drop your ear off to one side. And then inhale, bring it up, shrug up. And then exhale, take it over to the other side. And then you're just going to float through that movement. Allow a little bit of smoothness to come in. We're going to go one more time through. And then the next time your right ear is over to your right shoulder, you're going to stay there. Let your ear get nice and heavy towards the shoulder. Take a breath. Add a little touch of a gentle nod up and down. All right, you're going to keep your ear tipped over to the shoulder, but come back to that, like, what would you consider that neutral position with the ear to the shoulder? Keep your lips together and move your jaw a little side to side. One more wiggle of the jaw from side to side, and then you're just going to do that little upward position. So when you were doing the nodding up and down, go for the high position with the chin, and then come back to that jaw moving from side to side. One more from side to side, and then roll your chin across your chest. Take it over to the other side. Hang out there for a second. Take a breath. And then if it feels good on the side, add a little gentle nod up and down. Let the nodding come to stillness. Head comes to that neutral tilted position, and then wiggle your jaw from side to side. One more wiggle of the jaw from side to side, and then do that little tiny lift of the chin, and then come back to that movement of the jaw. One more moment with the jaw, and then take it into a roll. Just roll across your chest and then roll it over to the other side, and go for just a few smooth rolls going from side to side. One more roll from side to side. And then bring your head back up to a neutral position. If you can stay on the block, stay on the block. If it gets too uncomfortable, shoop it off. But take it into a seated cat-cow here. Inhale, lift your chest, lift your chin, arch your back. Exhale, round your back. And the block might change how much range of motion you find. So allow it to be reduced or allow it to be exaggerated if that shows up. But focus on just following your breath. Inhale as you get that nice lift and arch of the back. And then exhale as you round. Take one more cat-cow. And then you're going to grab your net of balls and we're going to just work a little bit of that big fat muscle at the heel of the thumb. So you're going to find that nice thick muscle there, right? You're going to put that muscle on top of the ball. And then you're going to take your other hand and that muscle is going to stack on top of your hand. So thick muscle onto the ball, thick muscle stacks on top. And then like you're kneading some dough. So you're just going to do a little bit of a push forward and back and use your top hand to drive the car best you can. You're going to go for like one or two more forward and back, and then you're going to find the spot that feels the nicest where you're like, oh yeah, that's the thing right there. And you're just going to land on that spot. Take a second, let the weight of your hands rest into the ball, soften your shoulders as much as you can, soften your jaw, soften your armpits. Take one more breath. Awesome. And then slow release. And then just that thumb that you were just working on, just move it in some circles. Circle in one direction. Circle it the other way. And then we're going to take it over to the other hand. So the meaty part of that base of the thumb is going to land on the ball. Then the meaty part of the other hand is going to stack right on top. And then like you're kneading the dough, just move it a little forward and back. As always, one hand, one body part might feel just completely different from the other. My right hand thumb has a little bit of mischief to it, whereas my left hand thumb always feels pretty easygoing and normal. And what's funny about that is my left hand is my dominant hand. So, but I do have I just use my right hand more for all the worldly stuff. So just life throws it at you and it might show up in your body. So just take the time to notice what's different, what's the same, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. All right, now find that sweet spot that you can land on that feels pretty good or pretty interesting and just put that slight forward pressure. Now the top hand's going to do the heavy weight and the bottom hand's going to try to soften as much as possible. Take one more breath. All right, and then slow release. Take a second just to move that thumb, just draw it in a couple circles, circle in one direction. And then circle it the other way. All right, now our hands are going to come in front of us and you're going to go for palms facing forward, shoulders a little bit down or a little bit open. So shoot for just like what can you find in that shoulder girdle that feels expansive, just a touch. And then we're going to shoot for this palm staying in that facing forward maneuver. And you're going to start to lift your arms up and you're going to try to go as far up as you can comfortably go. And then slowly return and keep the palms in that position best you can. Notice if you start to tense up your jaw as you go. Inhale, you're going to lift the arms up, keep that palm and that hand orientation the way you've started it. Go as far as you can comfortably go and then come back down. And now these last three, you're going to shoot for keeping the rib cage sturdy. So head, ribs, hips are lined up. Once you feel like you're pretty lined up, palms facing forward, arms are going to lift. Try not to move the rib cage or the head too much, and then float the arms down nice and slow and controlled. And then those last two, just follow your breath. Inhale, go up. Exhale to return. Inhale to go up. Exhale to return. And then take a second to just shoot it out. the light version of the Etch-a-Sketch. And then take a light, gentle seated twist. So rotate just enough. Because you're on your block, it might change the variation of the shape here. So go for just what feels available in a light twist, and then nice big rib cage breath. Breathe like you're trying to breathe down into those low bones of the ribs, and breathe out sideways as if you're trying to breathe those low bones up into your armpits. On your next inhale, come to center, and then as you exhale, twist to the other side. On your next inhale, come to center, and then you're going to see if you can just kind of, scoop your legs out. And I'm going to flip around so I'm facing long ways on the mat. See if you can slip your legs out so that they come out in front of you, and then grab your net of balls. Take just a nice soft roll through the bottom of the feet. So now you've got less downward pressure. You have less body weight to help support. So think of this as more of that, like coming back to increasing blood flow to the bottom of the foot and creating a little increased sense of warmth in the bottom of the foot, but less pressure. And then if you're like, but I want more pressure, the way to get it is just to stack your other foot on top if it feels better to get that little bit of downward press. So go where it feels pretty good. Think of it as just coming back to waking up the foot again. But as you move along here, just kind of get a sense of like, how does the top of your ankle feel? How do your shoelaces feel? All right, and once you feel that foot has a little bit of increased blood flow, all the good stuff, pass that set of balls over to the other foot, and same thing there. Just a little bit of forward and back, a little bit of waking up that bottom of the foot again, get some blood flow back into the limbs. And then if you want that stack your foot, put that little slight bit of downward pressure, but only if that feels good. And then same thing here, get a sense of how does the top of the shoelace feel? How does the top of your ankle feel? All right, take one more moment there. And then when you're ready, pop your butt up and off of your yoga block. You're going to place the yoga block out in front of you. I'll say low setting, but long ways. Now take your net of balls, and your calf muscle is going to hop up onto that net of balls. And then we're going to take it for a roll. So you're going to kind of pick up your bum just a touch, and then just give a nice slow roll forward and back. Land in that like middle medius thickest part of your calf muscle, and just give your leg a little windshield wiper action, little turn from side to side. One more little turn from side to side, and then land there in that like mid position, and add a little point and flex of your foot. And as you point and flex your foot, notice the top of your foot, your ankle, notice your Achilles tendon, notice the depth of your toes. And then you're going to take one good like intentional point. So point your toes and just kind of look at your foot and get an assessment of how does the foot look when you point your toes. And there's no right or wrong, just take the inventory, notice what's showing up. All right, and then soft release, and we're going to pass that work to the other side. So pass your block and your net of balls over to the other leg, get that calf muscle on, and then just pick up just enough so you can get that nice slow roll going on. When we do the ankles and the shoelaces bit, it does ask a little bit for the knee. So if you get there and you're like, my knee does not care for that depth of work, then we can always adjust it. We probably won't adjust it today, but we can always adjust it to do the work from the surface of a chair. So just know that there's ways that you can get to it. If you get there today and you're like, inaccessible, then we'll flip it around and we'll always make it more accessible by finding the chair. All right, take one more roll and then find the middle of your calf muscle and then add just a little windshield wiper action with the leg. All right, one more little windshield wiper and then take it into a point and flex. One more point and flex, and then point with an intention. Just point and look to your foot and notice, does the point of your foot look different than the other foot? Does it feel like just like nothing, like it feels pretty easy and you've got a nice intentional point and the muscles feel good, the ankles feels good? Just take an inventory, just time to notice. All right, and then once you've noticed that just enough, release it. We're flipping around to tabletop position. Put your yoga block and your ball just a little off to the side, ready to grab when the time comes. As you come to tabletop position, take a second to imagine that your hands and your knees are all evenly distributed in weight. So nice even distribution of weight between your hands and your feet, between your hands and your knees, excuse me. Spread your fingers, lengthen the back of your neck. Gaze will be down in between the space of your thumbs or possibly index fingers, depending how lengthy you get your neck to go. Soften your jaw, but breathe in through your nose. Take a nice, big, intentional breath. And now all we're going to do is toes under, toes released, toes under, toes released. And you're just looking for a little bit of time to get that work going on. Notice your toes, notice your ankles. All right, now we're going to add a little butt back towards the heels, but we're going to go like really small increments. So toes under, butt goes back an inch, butt comes forward, toes release. Toes curl under, butt goes back 2 inches, butt comes forward, toes release. Toes under, butt goes back maybe 3 inches, butt comes forward, toes release. Toes under, butt goes back maybe about 4 inches, butt comes forward, toes release. Toes tuck under, butt goes back maybe just a little bit further, butt comes forward, toes release, toes under, butt goes back. Now we're going a little bit further, so tune in and notice, how do your knees feel about that work? And release. Now we're going to go back just a couple more, and you're just finding your range, noticing your knees, noticing your toes, noticing your ankles, maybe even noticing your wrists as you go. Cool. One more forward and back, and then we're going to take it out to puppy pose. So the next time your shoulders come up in line with the wrists, release your toes, and then walk your arms out to your favorite version of puppy pose. So whether it's arms wide or arms narrow, go for the one that feels good. Let your heart soften down for a moment. Let your forehead soften down. Take 3 nice deep breaths. When you're ready, lift up just enough so you can walk your puppy off to one side. So just getting a little bit of lateral flexion. Walk off to one side, let your heart soften down, take a breath. When you're ready, come through center and then walk off to the other side. Take your time as you go. Find that nice lateral stretch on the other side. Let your heart soften down, let your forehead soften down. Come back to your breath. Nice. And then when you're ready, walk it back to center. Now we're going to set ourselves up. So take a second just to get that last little puppy stretch, wiggle your fingers, move your wrists so that they feel pretty good. And then as you come up, you're going to go yoga block. It's going to go long setting. So it's going to go long setting with your net of balls on top. And then we'll start by rolling the shin just to kind of get that nice placement and action going on. And then we'll move it on. So you get the balls on top of the block. Pop your shin onto, and then you start to find a little bit of a roll forward and back. All right, now as you roll on that shin, you're going to find a spot that feels kind of interesting to land on and just do a little turn in, turn out of your toe as much as you can find. And height's varying. So if you're tall or if you have longer limbs or longer bony structure, you might sometimes find that a second block will help to give you a little bit more height. All right, now take it into a little point and flex. All right, and then see if you can just come back to that smooth roll for a second. So now as we go along, we're going to move the ball so that it comes, oh, my zoom in broke. So now we're going to come up to where the foot meets the ankle. So really right at that top edge of where your shoelaces would be. So we're going to get the net of balls so that the shoelaces are over and you're in that nice little crease where the ankle and the foot meet. And then you're going to see if you can let your knee touch down. And that might be a big ask. So you're gonna hold yourself in a way that makes good sense. Everybody's body will behave differently here. If you've got that knee down to the ground, now you're gonna see if you can kind of send your butt back towards your heel. And it's gonna increase that pressure there. So if it's delicate or if it's tender, ease up. How much body weight you put on is gonna be what feels good and appropriate to you. Can you soften your jaw? Can you take a nice big breath? Once you've got your way there, if it feels good, a little bop of the hips from side to side. Breath is going to be a big indicator. If you're catching in your breath, if you're clenching your jaw, if your body is gripping the whole entire time, all of those things are non-negotiable. We don't want them. We want to be easy. We want to have the ability to melt over the ball. We want to be able to soften our jaw. We want to be able to take slow, deep, intentional breaths. So you always want to just do this mindfully. You want to pay attention to what's showing up so that the fascia has a good conversation. All right. Reduce that wiggling of the bum, and then you're just going to see if you can find a little bit of movement of the foot, like you're trying to give it a little point and flex. And then not for everybody, but for some of us, it will feel nice for this last little stretch to come up into a taller position. It's going to put a lot more downward body weight. So if you get there and your ankle's like, get off, you're going to come off right away. If it feels okay and you're there, you're going to see, can you add a little touch of movement? Can you wiggle your foot just a little bit side to side or give it a light little point and flex? Or maybe you twirl it in little circles. Any little movement, non-specific, it's just like, can you keep a little bit of that pressure on and find a little bit of movement? All right, take one more moment and then easy, slowly, gently come forward. Let that body weight come off in an easy and soft way. And then we're going to swing it around so we can sit on our butt just so that we can point the toe and look at the foot. So you're just going to come around in a way that makes sense. Put both feet out in front of you, point both toes, and you just want to see, does one look like it's found more range than the other? Mine look roughly the same, but my toe point has always been pretty easy to find. So just kind of notice, but definitely feels different. Though mine don't specifically look very different, it definitely feels nicer. It feels longer and warmer. So just take just that assessment to notice, and then boop, 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 give it a little squish and a wiggle. And now we're going to change that work to the other side. So move your block and your net of balls. We're starting back at that shin. So you're going to place the shin on and then just start to find a little bit of a lengthy roll. And at first, sometimes it's just about finding that sweet spot, like where does that block and that ball land, so you can get a little bit of coordinated work going on. Nice. Okay, now as you roll it along there, you're going to see if there's a spot that feels a little interesting that you can land on, and then add that little bit of movement of the foot. Turn the foot left to right. Notice your jaw. Add that little point and flex of the foot. Notice your breath. Add any other little bit of movement that feels good. Maybe take it for another quick soft roll, because now we're going to look for the shoelace point or that ankle point. So you're going to really think about what it is that spot where the bones of the tibia meets the bones of the foot, and there's that little hinge area, and that hinge area is where we want to try to get the balls to land to get started. And then once you've found that spot, you're going to ask yourself, how does it feel? And then you're going to say, okay, could I get my knee to come down to the ground? And if not, you're going to keep it in that more lighter lifted position. And if your knee can come down to the ground, you're going to hang out there for a second and add a little bit of movement of the foot. A little side to side, a little point and flex, whatever movement feels available. All right, now if all of that is feeling good, now you're going to see if you can come up a little bit higher, but one foot might always be different from the other. So get here and see what shows up, and then ask yourself, could you add a little bit of movement of the foot? Take one or two more breaths. And then when you're ready, ease yourself off. Take your time. Come off nice and slow. Move that body weight forward. Give the foot a little wiggle. Slowly bring it on off. And then pivot yourself around again. So legs are going to come back out in front of you nice and long. And as you get those legs out in front of you nice and long, same thing here. We're going to come back to just that little assessment. So you're going to reach your toes away. Point your toes and then just notice, is there any change? Is there a shift? Does it feel just a little bit warmer? Does it feel like there's a little bit more length and stretch and reach through the tops of the feet and the ankles? And then just for that different assessment, pull your toes towards you, get that nice dorsiflexion of the feet, so much so that the heels lift a little bit off the ground. And now lift up through your spine. Keep those toes pulling toward you as you lift up just a little bit taller, and then do a little tiny double tuck of your chin. And you're going to keep that little double tuck of your chin. You're going to keep your lips together, and you're going to wiggle your jaw a little side to side. One more wiggle of the jaw from side to side, and then let everything soften for a second. All right, now flip yourself back around to tabletop position. Take just your yoga block, leave the balls off. Now we're going to go into our hip dips. So you're going to take that yoga block, long ways, low setting, Pop your right knee and shin up over that block, wrists underneath the shoulders, roughly so. And then we're picking that left knee up to about right knee height and then lowering it down. And then we are looking for just a touch of fatigue when we do this work. So we're going to start with the hip dip and then add on hip dip with a little fire hydrant. Let the leg come out to the side, let the leg return, let the knee touch down. All right, now we're going to add on just a little bit more because again, we're looking for fatigue. So you're going to go knee up, knee out to the side, knee crosses behind, tap, comes back out to that fire hydrant position, and then lowers down. Knee up, out to the side, swing it around, tuck it behind, pick it back up to the hover point, and touch down. 3 more like that if you can. Beautiful. All right, now when you're ready, set that leg down and we're going to pass that work to the other side. So come off just enough, pass your block over to the left knee and shin. Find your table sturdy position and then away we go. Starting with the knee lift, just getting that nice hip dip going on. All right, and then add that fire hydrant maneuver. So we bring the knee up to a hover, we lift out to the fire hydrant, the knee returns to the hover position, and then touches down. All right, now we add on again, lifting out to that fire hydrant, swinging it around, tuck behind the knee, release, slow swing around, and the knee touches down. One more time through. Awesome. And then come off of that block, swing it around so you're sitting back on your butt into a butterfly position. So soles of the feet together, knees out to the left and to the right, and your hands are going to open your feet up like a book. So put your thumbs into the center of your feet, keep the blade edges of your feet together, peel your feet open like a book, sit up just a little bit taller with that nice long spine, and then slowly start to hinge your chest forward, just to a point where it feels good, but mainly keeping that open book position of the feet. And then once you've got like a nice spot where you don't have to work too hard, take a moment there just to breathe. Now imagine that you're holding the book open, but your feet are going to try to close the book. So you're going to push your feet into your thumbs and try to bring the big toes and the balls of the feet together. Use a little bit of effort. Allow them to come together. So as you find that little bit of strength, let them come together. And then once they've come together, take a second, soften everything, and then find your way back to tabletop position. I'm flipping you all around today. Isn't that so rude? Find your tabletop position, but we're going to get our toes curled under right away. Butt's going to go back to the heels. Take a nice big breath. From this position, we're going to peel up into a downward facing dog. So imagine somebody's got a little string tied to your tailbone. Peel your tailbone up, let the knees follow along. Lift up into that down dog shape and then start to pedal out the legs. Bend one knee, press into the opposite heel. 1 or 2 more pedals of the feet, and then when you're ready, look forward, walk your feet up towards your hands, come to a soft ragdoll fold at the top of your mat. Bit of space between the legs, nice good bend in the knees. Give your torso and the upper body just a moment here to find that little bit of letting go. So if you can, catch hold of your elbows, let your spine hang out in that nice heavy dangle. Let your head hang nice and heavy so your gaze is to the back end of your mat, and take a few slow, deep, intentional breaths here. We're going to keep this hold of our elbows if we can. You're going to bend your knees, pull your abdominal muscles in. As you roll your way up to standing, those elbows are going to come up above your head and frame your ears and your head just as much as you can. And everybody's proportions here are a little different. So if your elbows don't go that high, don't worry about it. Just release the grip enough so you feel comfortable. Now take a little tip over to the right, just a little lateral side bend. Take a nice big breath. Come up through center, take it over to the other side. Come up through center, release your arms, let them float down at your sides, roll the shoulders down and back, and then just go for that palms facing forward orientation for your mountain pose. Once you've got your mountain pose, take a minute just to come back and feel your feet connected to the ground. Take a breath. Toes and the arms. As you inhale, toes are going to lift, arms are going to lift. And then as you exhale, toes return, bend your knees, fold down towards your feet. Inhale to a half fold, bring a little length and space into the back. And then exhale, soften back down. Right leg stepping back to warrior two position. Step the right leg back, drop the heel in, turn the toes out. Right hand's going to pick you up. Find that warrior two position. Bring your ribs roughly in line with your hips as much as you can, just so we shift that weight a touch. And then that front leg's going to do a little bit of work. You're going to dorsiflex the foot, hold, 3, 2, 1, float it down with control. Dorsiflex that front foot, hold, 3, 2, 1, but now slam the foot down, dorsiflex and hold, 3, 2, 1, slow return to the ground, dorsiflex the foot and hold, 3, 2, 1, slam the foot down. One more time with that process. Lift up, hold, 3, 2, 1, slow return. Pick it up and hold, 3, 2, 1. Let the foot slap down, and then peaceful warrior. Drop the back hand, reach the front hand up, look to the sky or look to your hand. Take a nice big breath. And then we cartwheel it down to the ground. Pivot that back foot as you go along. Find runner's lunge. Hang out there for just a second. Lift your chest, lift your chin. We're going to switch our feet. Right foot's going to hop forward. Find a soft fold. And then left foot's going to step back so we can find our way to warrior two on the other side. Drop the back heel down, turn the toes out. Left hand's going to pick you up. Bring that weight back just a touch. So ribs are roughly in line with the hips, just so we're not putting it too much in that front leg. And then once you found your way there, lift those front toes and the balls of the feet. Hold, 3, 2, 1. Melt the foot down. Lift up and hold, 3, 2, 1. Smack the foot down. Lift up and hold, 3, 2, 1. Melt the foot down. Lift up and hold, 3, 2, 1. Smack the foot down. One more time through the process. Lift up and hold, 3, 2, 1. Melt the foot down. Lift up and hold, 3, 2, 1. Smack that foot down, peaceful warrior. Drop the back hand, reach the front hand up, look to your hand or look to the sky. Beautiful. And then bring it on down, cartwheeling down as you pivot that back foot so we find runner's lunge. Pause in your runner's lunge for a moment, take a breath. All right, now we're going to plant the palms, step back to a plank position. So bring your hands down, step your foot back in your plank position, rock your plank a little bit forward and back, work through your feet, come up towards the toes, press back into the heels. One more moment there, and then knees are going to softly touch down. Softly bend your elbows, lower your way down onto your belly. 3 low cobras. Inhale, lift your heart up just a touch. Exhale to soften down. Next 2, think about stretching your sternum to chin like a rubber band. Inhale, lifting upward. Exhale, softening down. Inhale, lift and stretch that rubber band. Exhale to soften down. Now we're going to push our way back like you're going into child's pose, hero's pose, but then we're going to go back a little bit further. So for some of us, this is already enough, and that's a big ask for the knees. So you're going to do a quick assessment. Does that feel good? And then you're going to see if you can roll up and over, and then we reach back behind us and let the knees lift a little bit, and it brings that stretch through the shoelaces, but only go there if it feels comfortable. We don't want to put too much stress on it. That doesn't feel right. So find a little bit of that positive stress. Take a good breath. Wonderful. And then bring it forward. Now we're going to spin everything around so we come onto our back. Have your balls nearby, have your block available. Take your time as you spin everything around and then come down onto your back. Take your time as you come on down. Once you found your way down, right leg is going to come across the left. Low figure 4. We're going to take that figure 4 and go off sides. So you're going to let your arms be nice and wide like your anchors. Take that figure 4 and take it over to the right. Go nice and slow. On an inhale, bring it through center. Now you're going to take that figure 4 over to the left, but go nice and slow. Once you're over to the left, pause there for a moment, take a breath. On your next inhale, bring that figure 4 back to center, and then hands free. You're just going to lift that figure 4 up to the easiest comfortable position where you can lift and you don't have to work too hard, and then take a nice big breath. All right, and then slow release, and we uncross to recross. Put the right foot down, bring the left leg across the right. Now we're going to take that figure 4 over to the left. So you're just going to slowly let the knees tip over to the left. Go as low as it feels comfortable. Pause there for a moment and take a breath. On an in-breath, float the knees up through center, and then take that figure 4 and let it slowly, slowly, slowly come over to the right. And then once it's as far over on the right as you feel comfortable going, pause for a moment and notice your breath. On your next in-breath, bring it back up to center, and then hands free. Lift the figure 4 up just enough where it's that first comfortable enough position where you don't have to work too hard to get it there, and then take a nice big breath. Cool. And then slowly release, uncross both legs, hip bridge position. Slide your hands in so they come in alongside your hips. Dorsiflex your feet. So pull up the toes and the balls of the feet. Keep them in that lifted position. Exhale, squeeze your butt muscles first, and then lift your butt up nice and high. Hold at the top. Reach your knees towards your lifted toes. Get a little extra squeeze in your butt muscles and keep that squeeze in the butt muscles. But imagine you're trying to anchor the back of your rib cage down so you keep nice and solid in your center. Squeeze in the butt muscles. Knees are reaching towards the toes. Arms are going to move. As you inhale, you're going to start by flipping those palms so they're in that forward facing orientation. You're going to try to keep that orientation and lift your arms as high as they'll comfortably go. Keep your butt up in the air. Lower your arms back down, keeping that palm facing forward orientation best you can. Stay in that up position. Lift your arms up above your head. Lower your arms slow and controlled. We're going to do that one more time. So get that good squeeze in the butt muscles. Don't let the butt droop. Lift your arms up just to a comfortable height. It's not about forcing the arms, it's about finding something interesting. And then slow return. Take your time. Flip your palms so they're facing down. One vertebrae at a time. Lower yourself down. Upper back, middle back, low back. Hips touch down. Soften your feet. Bring your right knee into your chest. Slide your left leg nice and long. Take that right knee and just draw it in a couple of circles. Circle in one direction. Circle the other way. All right, take that knee out to the side. Open up your hip just a little bit and circle your foot. Circle in one direction. Circle the other way. Nice. Now we're going to pass that knee across and take it into supine twist. You're going to take that knee over and across to the left. Going open into that twisted position just as far as feels comfortable to you today. Open your right hand up, turn your head to the right, and then slow your breath down just a little bit. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, slow return, and we'll take that work to the other side. So bring it into Apanasana, knees to chest, just to find that transition. And then hang on to your left knee, let the right leg go nice and long. Take that left knee and draw it in a couple of circles. Circle in one direction. Circle the other way. Awesome. And then swing that knee out to the side, open up the hip just a little bit, circle your foot. Circle your foot the other way. Beautiful. And then take it into supine twist. Pass that knee over to the right. Let it come over and across just as far as feels good. Let your left arm open out nice and wide, and then maybe turn your head in the opposite direction of your knee. When you're ready, slowly bring it back in, pausing in Apanasana, knees to chest. So bring that left knee into your chest, bring the right knee into meet. Let your knees get just a little bit heavy into your hands. So you're in that little ball, but it's a soft ball, and the knees can just anchor into your hands, and you can take a nice big rib cage filling breath. Think about that rib cage now like it's that nice umbrella. It's that 360 breath. So you're just going to take that nice big open lift and expansion breath into your rib cage. Exhale nice and slow. Feet are going to touch down to the ground, and you're going to do that horse trot. If your back was being mischievous today and the horse trot doesn't feel good, you're going to leave it off. But if the horse trot feels good, I call it the horse trot because it feels like your torso is jogging up and down like you're riding a horse. So we push into the feet to create a little bit of up and down momentum. And you just want to feel like your back is connected to the floor. your head gives a little jog, your upper body, the parts of your back that are connected to the floor keep connected. And then they just kind of move the skin, the fascia, and the connective tissue. So take 1 or 2 more trots up and down. My suggested finish for us today is going to be using the ball underneath the occipital ridge, like a little tiny pillow, but it's a myofascial release pillow. So if you think that would be interesting, grab your net of balls and it's going to come up underneath the ridge of your skull. And you're just going to get it to where it's in a comfortable enough position. And then ask yourself what would feel good for the rest of the body. Constructive rest for the legs, more traditional corpse pose for the legs. Go for the one that feels good, where you don't have to work too hard. And then once you've got that nice myofascial release pillow underneath your head, arms are out nice and wide. If your arms are out nice and wide, palms facing up orientation, just because you got the head in that upper position. So we want that open return into the shoulders. So get your chest and your shoulders and your armpits into that open position. Let your hands be a little open and receptive. Let your eyes close down if it feels good. Let your jaw soften. You always have the option to stay in your Shavasana just as long as you like. But if you feel ready to do so, start by just twinkling your fingers and wiggling your toes. If you have the myofascial release balls underneath your head, and if like me, they've slipped down just a little bit, move them back to a place that you feel good about moving against, and then start a little turn of the head from side to side. And then maybe the next time the head's turned to the right, stay there and add just a little touch of an up and down nod. I generally prefer to hold my balls in place when I'm doing the head work. Otherwise, they just kind of slip. The roundness of the balls and the roundness of my head don't always work compatibly. So take the time to just find a place where it feels good. Add that little nod of the head up and down. And then when you feel ready, take it over to the other side. Turn your head a little bit to the left and then nod your head up and down. One more little nod of the head up and down, and then bring it back to center. Any last little movements of the head and the neck before you lift up to release. And then when you feel good about it, lift up, move that net of balls out from underneath your neck. Let your neck return to neutral just for a second. Take a breath. And then when you feel ready to go, slide your legs nice and long, stretch your arms up above your head, and just take that yawning, reaching stretch and put that nice intentional point into your toes. Reach your toes as far away from your fingertips as you can make them go. And then when you're ready, slowly and mindfully bring yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Sukhasana, crisscross applesauce, or maybe you come back to sitting on your block if you like that. Find a seat that feels pretty good. We're going to warm up the hands real quick. So you're just going to put a bunch of heat into your hands, get that good friction going on. And our hands are going to go around the ankles, shoelaces. So you're just going to adjust your legs so you get a little space so you can slip your hands in. And then once your hands feel nice and good and warm, place your hands on the tops of your ankles and around the shoelaces and just let everything soften for a moment. Let the warmth of your hands connect with the warmth of your feet. Invite an idea of softness into your shoulders, your armpits, your jaw. Let that softness work its way up into your eyebrows and the crown of your head. Take a nice big breath of love and gratitude towards yourself, for your mind, for your body, for all of your hard work. And then one last exhale just to invite that softness back into your whole entire day. And when you feel ready, gently lift up through the top of your head, gently release your hold of your ankles. I bow to you. You guys are amazing. Happy Tuesday.